Hi, so today we were working on taking some rates and just reorganizing them to look a little bit different. So this one says 720 meters per day, and I've got to make that into meters per minute. Now this one isn't super bad because I just have to say, okay, meters to meters. I'm always going to take and look at the first thing first. So meters to meters. I don't have to make any changes there, which is super nice. But I do need to make some changes if I want to go from day to minutes. So I'm just going to think through that a little bit and think, okay, so days, minutes. Are there going to be, is more stuff going to happen in a minute or more stuff going to happen in a day? That's going to be a day. So my number is going to have to get smaller. And so I think, how many minutes are in a day? Oh, goodness gracious. I have no idea. But here's what I do know. I'm starting with 720 meters, and I've got to get that into minutes. So I'm going to divide by 24 hours. And then after I divide by 24 hours, I'm going to divide by 60. Why did I choose to divide by 60? Yeah, because I know that there's 60 minutes in an hour and 24 minutes in a day. So this is very much a calculator problem. So I'm pulling out my calculator, and you can't see that, but I'm going to type some stuff in, and you should do the same. Oh, and it comes out small. It comes out to be 0.5 meters per minute. All right, so let's keep going and see what happens here. I've got 80 miles per hour, and I want to go to feet per second. So I'm going to deal with that top thing first. Miles per hour, feet per second. Let's get from miles to feet. So I think back to yesterday, and I think, okay, I know that 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. Now, memorize this one. If you didn't already just know that, you need to figure out a way to remember that. All right? So 80 miles is how many feet? Well, feet is smaller, so there should be more of them. So I'm going to do 80 times 5,280. So that is a ginormous number right there. I'm going to plug it in. You do the same thing. And that gives me 422,400. So now I've got feet per hour. But is that what I want? It's not. My ultimate goal is to get feet per second. So I think hour. Okay, an hour is bigger than a second, so less would happen in a second. So I have to divide to get to that. So I'm going to divide. How many seconds are in an hour? I don't know. But I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, and there are 60 seconds in each minute. So I'm going to take that big, huge number. I'm going to divide by 60. Then I'm going to divide by 60 again. And I end up with, what do you end up with? Because what I got seemed a little funny, but decimals aren't bad. Yep, I was right. So I got 117.3 repeating, and that's okay to have a decimal. So 80 miles per hour is the same as 117 feet per second, 117.3 repeating. So I'm just going to keep it there. So let's go into the book assignment and see what we've got there. Question 11 was where stuff got really hard. So if you needed help with that, here you go. 32 yards per minute makes how many inches per second? All right, so that last one that we just did, I just realized was number 13. So if you need to go back, it's number 13 if that helps you. Let's look at number 11 from the assignment. It says 32 yards per minute equals how many inches per second? So I'm going to draw this one out a little bit different just to see if you can follow. How do I know if I multiply? How do I know if I divide? So I'm going to go in. I see that I've got yards per minute, and I've got to make the yards into inches. So let's take care of that first. So I'm going to draw this nice little grid line to see if this helps me see what happens each time. I've got 32 yards, so that goes on the top, and then 1 minute goes on the bottom. Now, I want to take the yards and make that into inches. Well, I don't know exactly how many inches are in a yard. I guess I could. Let's see. A yard is 3 feet. 3 feet is 12 inches, so 36. So I know, since yard is up here, I'm going to put a yard down here. So in effect, what happens is they cancel out. And I know that I want inches on the top, and I just figured out in my head that there's 36 inches in 1 yard. So that puts me from yards to minutes. So I can just go 32 times 36. I know it's times 36 because they're both on the top. So when I do that, I'm going to end up with 1,152, and that's inches, but I'm still in minutes. But I can't keep minutes. I want to get to seconds. So I can think, well, how many seconds are there in a minute? Well, I know that there's 60 seconds in a minute, but you see how minutes was down here? So I want to get rid of the minutes, so I'm going to put 1 minute up here, because look at how they cancel out. 1 minute is worth how many seconds? 60. Because the 60 is on the bottom, I'm going to divide. So you might have just thought to yourself, hey, I don't want to do that little grid thing, but I know that seconds is smaller, and so there would be less things happening, so it's going to be a division problem. So 1,152 divided by 60, that gives me 19.2 inches per second. All right, last one. So I've got 20 fluid ounces per minute equals how many quarts per day. So I'm going to think to myself, how many fluid ounces are in a quart? Again, I have no idea. But I do know that I can go from fluid ounces to cups to quarts. Since fluid ounces is small and I'm going to a bigger unit, that's going to be a division problem. So I'm going to draw it out just to see if this helps you to see it. Again, if this grid doesn't work for you, that's okay, but some people it really helps to just have something visual. Here's why this happens. So I've got 20 fluid ounces, and that's on the top, and I've got 1 minute on the bottom. I'm going to go from ounces, I'm going to take to the quarts first. That's my first job. So fluid ounces, if that's on the top, then I know, again, I don't know how to go right to quarts, but I've got 8 ounces makes 1 cup. Okay, look at the fluid ounces and the fluid ounces cancel out. That's kind of why I put them across from each other or crooked from each other. Then 1 cup. I know that I want to get to quarts, so how many cups in a quart? Well, 2 cups in a pint, 2 pints in a quart, so 4 cups in 1 quart. All right, so what this tells me, look at the cups cancel out, and now all I'm left with is quarts, and I'm still in minutes. So now I see that I divide, which a lot of you could just figure that out right away, but here's the why of it. So 20 divided by 8 divided by 4. When I do that, that gives me 0.625, and that's how many quarts I've got in a minute. All right? But I don't want minutes, I want days. So I'm going to rewrite this down here so that I've got a little bit of room. So I've got 1 minute down here. How many minutes in a day? Oh goodness, again, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, and I know that there are 24 hours in 1 day. So do you see how I've got a minute on the bottom, minute on the top, hour on the bottom, hour on the top, and I would be left with quarts per day. So I can take my 0.625, times it by 60, because they're both on the top, times it by 24. When you do that, what do you come up with? You got it. You end up with 900 quarts per day. All right, keep working at it. If they're hard, that is okay. We'll take another day on it tomorrow, and we'll just keep working at this process.